Hey, Lauren here. We are going back to the risk reward, and I wanted to explain a little bit about what I mean with risk and reward. The term is, buy high or buy low, sell high. It's not buy high, sell low, which we can get trapped in. And I wanted to briefly talk about the risk reward, the different ratios, and what they mean. And so, for semantics sake, I did risk on the left and I did reward on the horizontal on the right. And I've got your quadrant here, and this is the bad quadrant, the high risk, little reward. That's a buy high, sell low. And then we have our good quadrant, quadrant 4, which is the buy low, sell high, where you have low risk, high reward. And then most investing is going to be actually in these quadrants, so it's more like a straight line, if you will. And just from my perspective, and I'm not a financial advisor, I'm just someone that does build their wealth with investing, and I have done investments in all of these quarters or all of these quadrants, and I try to stay out of here, but I've been in here a lot. And so I drew some pictures. I'm not an artist, as you can tell, but I drew some pictures to illustrate what I mean by the 4 quadrants. And this is the big no bucket. However, this is the fun bucket that I seem to want to be in if I didn't have constraints and objectives, because this is also where I would call a boat. A boat would be in here because it's high risk, but you do get a good reward, but it's high risk. It's also, I drew a money pit where I put stuff like Louis Vuitton, my Tesla. I was trying to draw a shoe in it that didn't work out. Those are Christian Louis Vuittons, because it's just, those aren't really investments. That's just a money pit because you're throwing stuff away, which I consider that risky with little to no reward. I mean, it's exciting and I love Louis Vuitton. It just doesn't do much for me. And I've been in this quadrant. I find it really easy to live here and be in here, and it's really easy and comfortable until you run out of money, and then you're inundated in debt, and then that sucks. The next quadrant is the low risk, low reward. I would consider this like mutual funds or something of that nature, to where it's just, you're not going to make a lot of money, but you're probably not going to lose it either. Stocks, bonds, stuff like that, mutual funds. And then over here, we're getting into the higher rewards, which right now, this quadrant, I am working on figuring out how to get a ski in, ski out in Vail or potentially Breckenridge or one of those areas up in the mountains. But so that's my mountain condo right there, where it's high risk and also potentially a high reward. And I put it there because I think the prices are really high for what the money that you're getting for them right now. And so I don't see anything that's going to be that I can buy with 25% down where I would get positive cash flow within the next 36 months. And I don't like to buy things that aren't going to give me some type of good cash return right from the get-go. Maybe, or whenever I've done that, I feel like I go right back here, and I'm really good at going here, but I'm trying to live here, and this quadrant is not as natural for me. This one over here has been. And so that's one of the points of the videos, is to explain the pitfalls or some of the mistakes that I made in an effort so you don't get to have to make them the hard way, like I seem to learn everything. So this, I also put a house. This could be your primary residence. It's not an asset if it's your primary residence, it's a liability. So that's why it's also a little riskier, because it costs you money every month. Assets make you money. Assets don't cost you money every month. It's not negative cash flow. And when you're paying your mortgage and you're paying your taxes, or you're paying for your lawn service, or whatever you're doing, if it's costing you money to live there, it's a liability. And I truly believe in what Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad series does say about that. And it makes sense, and I really like it, and I take that to heart. So I actually don't consider my house in any of my calculations, which is also probably why I don't have a primary residence at this point in time, because my husband and I are at odds on where that primary residence is going to be. Is that going to be Vail or right next to Pearl Street in Boulder? So I've talked about that before, how we don't really have one. We're going to be living in an investment property in Superior while we figure it out, because I find it a lot easier to find investment properties, but finding a personal residence, knowing that it's a liability, it has me thinking twice about what I'm trying to invest in. So that's